Here's Goodnight Olive making her move to take the lead by a head around the far turn. Race Kane has nearly 10 lengths to make up, so does Scooby Quando, verifying the leader. Top of the stretch, Cabot Trice is coming onto the outside. Up to the mark is running late behind Master of the Seas. Set piece down the center of the course. Master of the Seas alongside Annapolis. Here's Elusive Princess coming after Maj, and Mission of Joy tries to find room between that pair. Maj has the lead. Mission of Joy second, Elusive Princess third. The champ in front. Goodnight Olive chased all the way. Cabot Trice! Cabot Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. And if you thought this 2024 spring meet at Keeneland was going to go away quietly, it's not going to happen that way. Look at this carryover in the pick six for Thursday. $286,379 if the wager was not hit today for the second straight racing day. Nobody hit it on Sunday. Nobody had it today. We also have a super high five carryover of just over $7,000 going into the Thursday card. So it's pick six mania as we get to the Thursday penultimate program of the season at Keeneland. It'll be day 15 of 16 for the meet. 9-race card. We'll preview it all for you in just a moment. Give you the look at the picks from Scott and Gabby and Tom and Kim and everybody in the handicapper selectors box. Give you my overview of the entire card. Let's talk about what happened on the track today, where connecting the dots was not easy. How about this for the early pick five? $252,000. $252,000 for the early pick five on a 50-cent ticket. That tells me one ticket hit the early pick five. Unbelievable day of payoffs. Keeneland Turf Pick 3 today paid $10,000 for the $3 wager on the pick 3. So just a tremendous day for prices. I thought we were getting the Whopper. You know we like Mint Edition last night. We talked about this one as a long shot to take a shot with on the turf. Open up a 5-6 length lead all the way around the track. Rebroke at the top of the stretch. I thought we were home at 36-1. Ended up running a very good third. Gave us a great thrill there. We did catch one of our key plays of the day at 6-1. Tiger's Legacy went in by just a pole under Joel Rosario. We said it'd be nice for him to celebrate his announcement into the Hall of Fame with a winner on the card today. And he did just that. Tiger's Legacy, nice winner for us. Not quite enough to get us over the top for the day. We just about broke even, fell a little bit short, about $1 short in terms of break even. So as we go to the final 2 days of the meet, our top selections for the meet right now sitting at about $29 plus for the meet, just under $30 up for the season. We'll see if we can close it out. We want to hit a couple winners here for sure on this upcoming Thursday card. Maybe take down the pick six. We're certainly going to be swinging for it. But I can tell you this, advanced handicapping this pick six, there are no free spaces. This is a difficult sequence. This is the kind of sequence like if they knew it was going to be a mandatory day and they were taking entries, they put all the tough races together. They didn't know there'd be a double carryover when this card was drawn a week ago Thursday. This is a doozy in terms of trying to narrow down for the pick six. We're going to do our best tonight to try to see what we can do about putting together a ticket in that $1 pick six. As for the racing today at Keeneland, 8 different trainers won the 8 races. Wesley Ward still has a 3-win lead going into the final 2 days of racing. He's going to win the leading trainer title. It'll be his 10th title at Keeneland. He's had 9 meet titles. D. Wayne Lucas, the only trainer who's won more at Keeneland. Lucas has 16 of them in his storybook career. So Wesley Ward's got to win 6 more titles after this one to catch the old coach. As for the jockey race today, Irad Ortiz added 1 victory. He was the only of the leaders in the pursuit for the leading jockey title to get a victory today. So that brought him even with Tyler Gaffalione. They both have 15. Irad and Tyler, 15 wins each with 2 days to go. Nothing today for Jose Ortiz. Tough second in one of the races. He ends up with 13 right now with 2 days to go. So he's still got a shot 2 behind, but Tyler and Irad, 15 apiece. We talked about this either last night or on a previous show about how many meet titles in a row it's been for Tyler and Saez winning here at Keeneland. They've just traded traded the title baton back and forth. I exaggerated, I guess, a history. My mind gets clouded or whatever like that. It's only been the last 7 meets in a row for those guys. I think I said it was like 13 or 14, but 7 meets in a row. It's either been Saez or Gaffleone. Of course, it's not going to be Saez here, but Gaffleone can continue that streak if he can push clear here in the final 2 days. Again, jockey's race, not a big deal, in terms of your gambling, but I think it's something interesting to follow here, and we'll see how these guys go over the final couple of days. Martin Garcia did have 2 wins today. He was the only jockey or trainer to get more than 1 victory in the program. 2 riding wins today for Martin Garcia. He picked up a win in the finale. So again, the card on Thursday, it's about the pick 6. We also have that carryover in the super high 5. Pick 6 on a 9-race card lines up this way with race number 4 kicking off the pick 6. Here's the snapshot of the program. Let's talk about how it's going to go wagering wise. First post 1 o'clock as always. 9 races puts race number 5 in the middle. That'll be the swing race between the early pick 5 and the late pick 5. Of course, the early opens in race number 1. Early pick 4 will be in the second. Keeneland Turf pick 3, again, a thing that paid $10,000 for a $3 bet today. Keeneland Turf pick 3 will be races 2, 5, and 8. We really don't get a Keeneland Turf pick 3 this early in the card. An interesting spot there. But our 3 turf races, races 2, 5, and 8. I've got key plays in races 2, 4, and 7 on the card. We'll talk about those as we get through the handicapping of each and every race. Late pick 5 again starts in that 5th, the swing race. Late pick 4 gets underway in race number 6. Toyota Super High 5 in the finale. $7,000, just over that. In the carryover. In terms of field sizes, if you're looking at this pick 6 and what we might expect, it goes 8 by 10 by 7 by 7, but those are not easy 7s. We'll talk about that. Then closes with 12 in the 8th and 11 in the 9th. So plenty of horses entered over the course of the pick 6. That's what, 30, 37, 47, 55 horses in the 6 races at Keeneland. This is about what you expect, right? More than 9 starters per race. A real focal point at Keeneland. The field size has always been outstanding. And in this pick 6, no exception there. But we do have a couple 7-horse fields, and that's where the public's probably going to try to narrow its thoughts. Let's go to race number 1 and get handicapping on this 9-race card. In the opener, I'm on the 6 in here, Mainline Cypher. Also the top choice in here for Gabby and Kim. Scott and Tom are going with Trapline and Conflicted. I'm going with the 6 in here. This is a maiden claiming route race. I always say with maiden claimers going long on the main track, nobody wants to be here. They just end up here, right? If you've got a good maiden, you want to run them in maiden specials. And if you've got a good maiden, they're probably fast and precocious and brilliant, and they're probably not running a mile and a 16. So maiden claimers going long. This is kind of a battle of attrition. And, it's not a very good bunch to start things out here. We've got a field of 8. It's not a strong cast. We do have 3-year-olds going against older horses, though. And we talked about that on the card today. And we got to the last race on the program, and we said take the 3 older horses in that race. The one I took ended up running a decent third. One of the other 4-year-olds going against the younger horses won the race in the finale, I think 12-14-1 to close out the program. So I still think this time of year, the older horses have an advantage over the younger horses in terms of development and, just physicality. It's early for the 3-year-olds to take on the elders, but it happens at these lower levels. And so, I think you still want to try to stick to the older horses in here. And that's why I'm going with the 6 in here, Mainline Cypher. This is a 4-year-old taking on the youngers. Safi Joseph brings this one up from Gulfstream for Ken Ramsey. Blinkers on. Look, Ramsey holds one to the end of the meet. They make a class drop. This is a horse they claim for $40,000 in January. The Ramseys like to get their pictures at Keeneland and try to win races here. It's not like it used to be. It's not like the old days for sure, but still a victory at Keeneland means something. I think they waited to the end of the meet with this one on the class drop. Bullet workout here April 19th. I think it's all systems go for the 6 Mainline Cypher in here. The 5 Surface to Air is also a 4-year-old taking on the 3-year-olds. A big class drop here as well to the lowest level of this horse's career. Ran good around 2 turns at Churchill Downs back in November. Darren Miller brings this one off the layoff. It has been a bad year for the Miller barn. Not as many starters as he once had as well. 0-14, though, overall. We remember Miller having good turf sprinters here over the years, Havelock and runners like that, that really did some good damage at Keeneland, but doesn't have the stock that he once had for Silverton Hill Farm. And, Surface to Air should fit in this spot, dropping all the way to $30,000. For True Faith is the morning line favorite at 9-5. $575,000 WinStar and Sienna Form purchase. Keeneland September. Second start, willing to enter in for $30,000. I like the fact that I ride Ortiz rides, obviously. I talked about this yesterday. Whenever you get a big class dropper and they change jockeys up to a lesser rider, we saw it today. Brad Cox went to Concepcion and could have had one of his bigger riders on the big class dropper today that was favored and didn't run well. I kind of like to look at the jockey assignments when a horse makes a big class drop. They do keep Irad Ortiz this time to ride True Faith, so that's at least a good sign if you're on the 4 in the opener on the class drop. But True Faith is a 3-year-old, so I'm going to go with the older horses. Race number 1, let's take the 6 and 5 to get us through there into the second race. Second race on the card is going to kick off the early pick 4. It's also the turf pick 3, and this is one of my key plays on the card. Look, it's a 2-year-old maiden special weight on the turf. We don't get many of these. There's only been 5 run at Keeneland in spring meets past. Wesley Ward, you guessed it, has won 4 of those 5. He's got the 7 in here, Monterey Bay. This is a $330,000 Good Magic colt, first-time starter, as all these 2-year-olds are basically around this time of year. We do have 1 horse with a past performance line, 2 horses, in fact. But again, the first-time starter should run roughshod over these horses this time of year, and you expect that to happen. But one of my key plays of the day is not Wesley Ward. Ward got beat in the 2-year-old race today. That was a surprise, but I think there's a horse in here that we want to keep our eye on named Cheval de Guerre. And Cheval de Guerre, my top choice in here. I'm on the island. Does get a little bit of underneath attention from Gabby and Scott, but Cheval de Guerre for trainer Eddie Keneally is really well drawn here in post number 4. We talked about these post 3, 4, and 5 over the years in these turf sprint races. 3, 4, and 5 in a full field turf sprint has a great win percentage. They account for over 40% of the victories, 41, 42% of the victories, but they only account for 25% of the field, right? They're 3 out of 12, 1/4 of the field. You've got a huge positive ROI when you bet these horses 3, 4, and 5. Even if you bet every 3, 4, and 5 since 2006, the beginning of the database, if you bet every 3, 4, and 5, $2 to win in a 12-horse turf sprint, you're way up. Your ROI is outstanding. So this is a great post position for a first-time starter, Cheval de Guerre. The other reason I like this one, Eddie Keneally, I'm expecting him to have a win or 2 here closing weekend. He's finished up week 4 at Keeneland well in the past. I'm looking for it again here. And Eddie Keneally, in the last 21 starters he had who debuted in turf sprints, he's got 4 winners. So he's hitting almost 25% with debuts in turf sprints. It's kind of an odd spot to debut in a turf sprint. Eddie Keneally hits almost 25% with that move, and he's got a positive ROI. You're in the plus, so his horses aren't getting bet either. They're not scoring at short prices. I like the 4, Cheval de Guerre. First-time starter is one of my key plays early in the card here. And if you can beat the Wesley Ward in any of these 2-year-old races, you're going to get paid okay. And we saw today a little minor upset there. The Steve Asmussen runner. Steve's run 2 2-year-olds at the meet, and 1 lost by a nose, and today got the benefit of the close victory. So Cheval de Guerre, number 4 in race number 2, one of my first key plays on this card, and I think we're going to get a square price, 6 to 1 in the morning line. I think we're going to get every bit of that. This horse is going to be 5, 6 to 1, and should offer us good value. Mark Cassie's outside horse, the 12 Into Diamonds, is going to take some money in here for sure. Well-bred son of Into Mischief. You know the Ward's going to get bet, so I think we've got some value in here. I think the 7, Monterey Bay, you have to respect, obviously. The 8, the toner is interesting in here. By McLean's Music, good win early potential here. This horse has a big-time workout from the gate, and Joel Rosario rides. Rosario is the best turf sprint jockey in America, and his numbers back that up here at Keeneland. So I would not be surprised if the 8, who's 20 to 1 in the morning line, isn't part of this mix. So 4 with 7-8 with all 4 over the 7-8. I'm going to attack this race, intra-race heavily here, and get involved in race number 2. I wish this race was part of the pick 6 because this is one of the better opinions I have on the card, but it's not part of the pick 6 sequence. So that's how we see it in race number 2. Again, the first of our 3 key plays on the card. It will start the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. I'm going to use the 4 in here. I'm not going to throw the Ward horse out. I think in the Turf Pick 3 for a $3 play, you're probably smart in here to use both 4 and 7 if you're playing the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. But if you want to be bold and single, you're not going to get an argument from me in this particular spot. I just wouldn't single the favorite. I would single the horse that we like at the better price. Race number 3 next up. It's a claimer, $75,000 purse for these open $50,000 claimers. We don't get a lot of open $50,000 and up claimers here at Keeneland in the spring. This is a high dollar level. Sometimes you'll see races like 30,000 non-winners at 2, 50,000 non-winners at 2. I'm talking open claimers, which means there's no condition for a lifetime. No non-winners at 2, no non-winners at 3. These are just horses who are elders. They're probably through their allowance conditions. They've already won a 1 other than, a 2 other than, that sort of thing like that. Open claiming races like this, we don't get many of. Only 15 of them in the spring meet at 50,000 or up since we went back to dirt in 2015 here in the spring. Fairgrounds horses have won 8 of the 15. They have always matched up really well here in the upper level claiming races. It was the same even back in the Polytrack era, as I recall it. There's only one horse in this race who comes in from the Fairgrounds. That's the 6, Taiwanaku. So Taiwanaku is going to be my top choice in this particular spot, not just because of the Fairgrounds angle in here, but this is a horse who's got good early speed. My own 16th races, I don't want to be coming from too far out of it. You want to be up into the mix. I think the 5, Segui's got a little bit of pace. The 2 would be the other potential speed in the 6-horse field, but they take the blinkers off, and this horse leaves the synthetic. So going to dirt with blinkers off, the 2 might not show as much speed as the past performances previously show. So I look at this as just the 5 and the 6 is the only speed in this race. So I like that. Short field, give Edgar Morales a chance to maybe clock him up front. This is a son of both Tappet, obviously a superstar, and Daisy Divine. She was a great turf mare here at Keeneland. She earned $1 million, won the Jenny Wiley. Daisy Divine, flat-out runner. Taiwanaku has not, gotten to that level, obviously. 3 wins from 18 starts, but 8 for 18 in the exacta. The last couple just have been kind of off the rails, set the pace, and just stopped. I'm looking for maybe just a little speed pop in here, maybe go all the way on the front end from post number 6, the outside. I think you'll be able to clear going into the clubhouse turn. And I'm going to take my shot in here with the Fairgrounds just kind of being maybe the class of this particular spot. We know the Turfway horses have run so great this meet. The 5 Segoy would be the other one in here, obviously, from Turfway and the other potential speed. So to me, it's 6 and 5. I'd only go too deep in the multi-race wagers. Early pick 4, early pick 5. I'm going to try to get by with those 2. The 3 Tres Souls is the morning line favorite at 9 to 5. Coming off a layoff. I don't mind layoff horses at a higher level like this, and Joe Sharp can get a horse ready. So I'm not against this horse because of the layoff or anything like that. I just prefer the early speed of the outside runners in this particular spot. And Justify the Sire, again, he had 1 win earlier this meet on the dirt. Most of his success has come on the turf so far at Keeneland. So, I'm not sure if Trey Souls likes this track at Keeneland. The one particular start here ran 6 beaten 22 lengths. Worst race on the form was the race here at Keeneland. So I'm going to make Trey Souls as a morning line favorite. Prove it to me at Keeneland before taking a short price on that. 2 deep in here, 6 and 5, good value, I think. An exacta box with the 6 and 5, and again, in multi-race wagers, let's go with those 2 in race number 3. That brings us to the 4th race on the card, and that's where the carryover pick 6 is going to begin here. Races 4 through 9 on the 9-race program comprise the pick 6. Again, $286,379 in the carryover for the pick 6. And race number 4 is also one of my key plays on the card. We're going to try to come up with a little bit of a little action in this race with Burlane, the 8. This is a horse who I have got a form cycle move. And when I talk about form cycles, sometimes if you've been watching every night, thank you for that. The audiences have been great throughout the course of this meet, growing year to year, and I appreciate it. I like to repeat some of these handicapping angles because it's not the same folks every single night. And also to reiterate how important they are. But form cycle is the pattern that a horse is running. So if it's your first race of your career, first race after a break, after a layoff coming back in, maybe what you do when you switch from turf to dirt or switch distances, what that form cycle looks like, where are you at in that process? Burlane number 8 in this upcoming race number 4 is in a good spot in the form cycle because this horse comes back on short rest, right? Ran earlier this meet, April 5th, if you got your past performances out. Ran here opening week at Keeneland, ran 5th in a decent effort against tougher company. Now drops in class, comes back from April 5th to the 25th. It's only 20 days. And you say, wow, that's a quick turnaround. Go back and look at this horse's effort between February 2nd and February 15th. On just 13 days rest, this horse ran a dynamite race at Fairgrounds against allowance horses going a mile. We're going 6 furlongs against claimers in this particular spot. Form cycle repeating here, running back on short rest. That's what we're talking about in this particular horse's form cycle. When this horse runs back on short rest, we got a big effort last time. I'm hoping we get that again for Burlane in race number 4. That's why it's my second key play of the day. And it kicks off the pick 6 with, I think, a strong angle in here. Burlane top pick for Gabby and also Kim. him. Tells me maybe we're not going to get the 6-1 in the morning line. But again, I like this horse quite a bit, as much as any horse on the program, really. So if we get down to, 5-2, 3-1, I'm still okay with that. Smart with Heart, top choice in here for Tom and Scott. They're both going with this one coming out of a turf race at Fairgrounds back in January. Another one switching surfaces in here to the 6 furlong claiming sprint. Non-winners of 2 lifetime race in here. As far as the horses who have the best maiden wins on paper, it's not a clear-cut case. Maybe the 2 Little Sass, that $40,000 maiden claimer at Horseshoe Indianapolis, arguably that race, or the $30,000 race for the 4 Riviere. So those might be the horses coming out of the best maiden races on paper, the best maiden victories that they had. The 2 Little Sass is my second choice in here, and does get Lasix for the first time for a capable barn in Larry Demert. Doesn't have many horses, but he's won some races over the years, and he's by Palace Malice, or she's by Palace Malice. Plenty of precautions, plenty of speed in the pedigree there, obviously. And this horse does have some ability to break out of the gate. So Little Sass, the 2, could be fresh and ran well here over the track. Those are the ones I like underneath. But 8, the top choice in here. Give me the 2 and the 5 underneath. Solid play on the 8. Look, it's the pick 6. You might not want to start a pick 6 out with a single. I get that, but you've got a single somewhere, or else tickets get very expensive. Even at the $1 minimum, where it is here at Keeneland, you're not going to go 3, 4, 5 deep in every race in a pick 6. You're going to have to single somewhere. And as I like to tell people, when you're playing multi-race wagers, please take the emotion out of it. Just don't think about like how it'll be so disappointing to be out after the first leg. Like if you get to the 5th leg and you get knocked out, it's going to suck a lot worse than if you get knocked out early, right? I mean, there's nothing more disappointing than being alive for a big score and losing the last race. So if you're going to lose, it doesn't matter where you lose. 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, it's going to pay the same. You're not going to hit the 6 out of 6 unless you get all 6. So just because if your strongest opinion shows up in the first leg of the pick 6, don't be afraid to single. You've got to play to your convictions and got to play to your opinions on what you think these horses are capable of doing. For me, the strongest opinion I have in the pick 6 is in race number 4, Berlane. So if I'm playing the pick 6, rip the Band-Aid off, baby. We are playing and we're singling in the opening leg. And if we can get by here, now we've got more budget and combinations to play in the other races. If we lose, look, there's a very good chance 99% of tickets in this pick 6 are going to lose. That's how it's going to pay boxcars. That's how it always works in the pick 6. 99% of the time you're going to lose anyway when you're playing these pick 6s. You're trying to hit the big score. If you lose in the first, or you lose in the 3rd leg or the 5th leg or the 6th leg, it's all the same. So we're going to take our shot in there in race number 4 with Berlane. That's our top choice. To the 5th race we go next. Again, this is the keystone race of the card, the one that swings to the opening pick 5 and the late pick 5. Also, second leg of the Keeneland Turf pick 3. We recommended 2 deep, maybe a single in race number 2. So as you get to the second leg of the Keeneland Turf pick 3, how many might you need in here? And if you're playing the pick 6, how many might you need? In my past performances, I've got 4 horses in this race that I think are legitimate win contenders. Now, does that get too expensive for a Keeneland Turf pick 3 at $3 a pop? What will that do to your ticket as you budget out for the course of a pick 6? That's what you have to decide. But for me, I thought the race came down to the 9 Champagne Juan, who is the 5-2 morning line favorite, the 10 True Quality, who is 6-1, the 6 Sergeant Pepper, who's 7-2, and the 1 Breeze, who is 6-1. 4 contenders, all at fairly low prices in here. I don't think anything crazy is happening in race number 5. This is a 1.5 mile turf allowance here as we stretch out to the marathon distance. I love what Jose Ortiz does in the turf marathons here at Keeneland. He's won 26% in 1.5 mile races at Keeneland over the years. He rides here for Christophe Clement. Clement surprisingly doesn't win Keeneland turf marathons. He wins turf marathons everywhere else. It's been since, I think, 2010 was the last time that he won a turf marathon here, Christophe Clement. That's almost hard to believe that it's been 14 years since he won a 1.5 mile turf race here at Keeneland. He hasn't had many starters, don't get me wrong, but still, as good as he is with long-distance turf horses, Champagne Juan's probably the horse to beat in here. Ran 3rd last time out to Utah Beach. Utah Beach has already come back to win here on April 14th by almost 5 lengths in a romping allowance win. So that was a key race coming out of at Gulfstream. If you want to hone in on the 9 Champagne Juan, and this is a place where you might want to single, you're not going to get a big argument out of me, but I think there are other good options in here. I love the pedigree on the 10 Truly Quality by Quality Road, a top turf sire here out of the mare Truly Together from that Forever Together family that's so good for the Strawbridges over the years. There's a lot to like, I think, about the 5 Cyber Ninja in this particular spot. Also coming out of a good race down at Gulfstream Park. Again, Shug McGahee's got the 1 Breeze. McGahee wins these long-distance turf races with some frequency here at Keeneland. Would be no surprise whatsoever if that one takes to the 1.5-mile trip here at Keeneland, the 1 Breeze. And then the other one that I think that we had in there was the 6 Sergeant Pepper. This is one who's a $1.6 million purchase. Todd Pletcher, Uncle Mo, Dame Dorothy, a ton of pedigree there. The good Bobby Flay mare, Dame Dorothy. This is a really good a potential runner here who's got a lot of promise. Last time out, finally broke the maiden and broke through. Took 6 starts to break the maiden at Gulfstream. But could Sergeant Pepper start rattling off a few wins after nibbling and then finally breaking that maiden? Would be no surprise at all. 9, 10, 6, 1. I think they're all legitimate options in here. Let's see what the other handicappers have in race number 5. Again, this is the key race for the pick 4s, the pick 5s, and in the pick 6. I've got Champagne Juan on top. Gabby's got Champagne Juan, but others take some options in here. In fact, I gave you 4 horses, and 2 of which are picked on top by my cohorts that I didn't even list. The 2 Better Bet and the 5 Cyber Ninja. So this race might be even more difficult and tougher than I'm giving it credit for. If you have to make a tough decision in terms of singling, I would single Champagne Juan if I had to single just one, because I love that race that he's coming out of. Again, that Utah Beach race is very strong, getting beat a half length by a horse who's already come back here to win by almost 5 at the meet. And you get Ortiz riding long on the turf here in these 1.5-mile races, and the percentages say he's as good as it gets in this particular situation. So Champagne Juan, if you have to cut, that would be the way to do it. But for me, I think this race could go at least 4 deep, 9, 10, 6, and 1. And again, 2 and 5 also get some love across the handicapper selectors box. Wish I could, pare it down a little more for you. But again, if you had to take just one, I guess it would be Champagne Juan. Let's go to the 6th race next up on the card. This is going to start the late pick 4. Late pick 4 here, beginner, is a starter allowance going 1 mile and a 16th on the main track. Starter allowance races are usually fairly formful. We're not looking for big-time prices in these particular spots. We talked about trainer Ian Wilkes being one of those trainers to watch over the last week of the meet. He's had good success with 4 winners on the last week of the meet over the past 5 seasons. That's, I think, 4th or 5th most of any trainer. And Wilkes doesn't start a ton of horses, so he saved some for late in the meet here. He's had a pretty good meet at Keeneland already. He almost popped the 36-1 shot for us wire to wire today. Boy, I wish we could have got that one home. But he's got Dr. Kringle on this spot. You're not getting 36-1 this time. This horse is 5-2, but the last race was a stinker, no doubt about it. So I don't know if you want to take 5-2 on a horse who got beat and ran 10th last time. But the one thing we talk about, form cycles, here we go again with your form cycles when it comes to Dr. Kringle. When this horse runs a terrible race like last time, beaten 10th by 12, look back at the other terrible races in the horse's form. I mean, if you go all the way back, we're looking at June at Ellis Park last year, 8th beaten a mile, came back the next time and ran 2nd. Really good effort. Then ran 8th beaten 11 and some lengths and came back and ran a good 3rd. Then ran 12th beaten 17 lengths, then came back and broke the maiden. Well, after 2 decent starts now, threw another clunker in, and now Dr. Kringle, we're going to say, maybe is ready to bounce back again. This horse bounces back from terrible efforts and runs stronger the next time out. And Creative Cause is a good one in here. This horse's Keeneland form, I don't know. The one race at Keeneland was absolutely terrible that this horse ran, so I'm a little bit afraid of that, but Creative Cause overall is a very good dirt route sire here at Keeneland. His horses win 20% in Keeneland dirt routes. So there's the pedigree to be better over this track than that one non-effort showed. And again, this horse has had complete non-efforts and bounced back to run well again. Kim's got this one picked on top as well. This is not a confident play for me. This is not one of my 3 key plays on the card. I like the horse of the bounce back angle. I like Ian Wilkes late in the meet here, but I do not like 5-2 in the morning line. You've got to get more than that if you want to get invested in this horse, I think, on the win end. Unfortunately, Irad Ortiz rides in terms of the price, unfortunately, because he takes a lot of money at the tote, and, he's competing for a leading jockey title. So I think the fact that Wilkes goes to Irad here is a pretty good tell that they think this horse is going to run well and bounce back, that they can go get a jockey of that repute to ride. Again, he doesn't ride for Ian Wilkes a ton. I think that's a good sign, but I do think it's going to keep us from getting any sort of overlay price, right? This horse is going to be covered. If you look across the way, Newhart, the 4, gets 2 top choices in here. Otherwise, it's Dr. Kringle and JR's Gift. So tough race. I mean, again, this is a 7-horse field, but you can make an argument for a handful of these in this starter allowance. I mean, the 5, the 7, the 1, the 2, the 3 are all horses that I had on my list. And the 4, Newhart, is one picked by a couple of the handicappers in here. So it's a 7-horse field, and the propensity of horse players is going to be to single in this race and the other 7-horse field, or at least narrow in these races, because there's just not, the depth of the field, numbers in the field. But there are like 10, 11, 12-horse races that only have 2 or 3 contenders. And then there are like 7-horse fields like this that have 5 or 6 contenders. It's hard to do and spread in a race like this because it's against kind of conventional thinking, but it'll get you outside the public a little bit, because in this race, the favorites are probably going to get overbet in the pick 6 and the pick 4 and the pick 5. Same rules apply in any multi-race wager. When you have a smaller field size like this, the favorites are going to be where people narrow into 1 or 2 picks in a race like this because of the field size. And then when those horses get beat, they might get beat by the 3rd choice in the race, but that 3rd choice in the race might have the same percentage of tickets on it that the 8th choice in a race in a big field had on him. So they play well, as I like to say. This horse plays well for a pick 6. So if you get beyond the favorite or the 2nd choice in this 6th race, it's going to play very well for a pick 4, a pick 5, or the pick 6. I actually think this is a race where you want to use as many bullets as you can afford to use in race number 6, despite the fact that it's only a 7-horse field. Let's go next to the 7th race on this 9-race card. This is another key play, my final key play of the day. Now, this is a 7-horse field where I have an opinion, and if we want to narrow down on this particular spot, I think this could be a good place to do it. We've been talking about Ian Wilkes, and I think this is one that Ian's got a real big shot with in Bourbon Heist. Top pick in here also for Kim, a Bourbon Heist 3rd choice for Tom. This is a horse, Bourbon Heist, who's run big at Keeneland. 2 starts over this track, a win by 6+ lengths, and also a 2nd place finish. Again, we talk about form cycles and horses repeating patterns. I like to say handicapping the horses is like the childhood game. Now I'm losing the name. It's the memory recall game. Concentration, right? I couldn't concentrate and remember it. But it's like concentration. You flip a card over and then you flip it back and you try to remember where you saw that card before. That's how handicapping is have I seen this scenario before? How does this scenario typically play out? Well, when you look at this horse's past performances with Bourbon Heist, this is a great example of the form cycle and that concentration. When this horse won last year and won by 6.5 lengths, going 7 furlongs here at Keeneland, look at the previous race. What kind of race was he coming out of? 6.5 furlong sprint at Turfway with a good placing. Well, what did this horse do last time out? 6.5 furlong race at Turfway with a good placing. Coming up to this race, just like he did the last time, the Bourbon Heist won by daylight here at Keeneland. And now you get Irad Ortiz riding this one again. A 10-pound apprentice was on this horse the last time he won at Keeneland. Now he's getting America's #1 Eclipse Award-winning jockey. I think it's absolutely go time for the 7 Bourbon Heist. This is one of my key plays of the day, 3-1 in the morning line. And this is a spot where I think you could probably single in the pick 6. I had a single maybe right off the bat in the pick 6. This will be the 2nd spot for me. And again, my 2 key plays of the day, races 4 and 7, fall in the pick 6. And I think both of those horses are potential singles. If you have to narrow the ticket for me, I'm narrowing it in races 4 and races 7. Again, looking back up here to race number 4, it's the 8 Berlane that I like. And in race number 7, give me the 7 Bourbon Heist. Love this horse in this particular spot. Now, I do fear number 6 Encore. This horse has tremendous form, extremely fast on speed figures, and has, decent races at Keeneland, a couple 3rd place finishes, in good form last fall when going to the bench. Phil Bauer's barn is a high percentage outfit this year. He's had a pretty good meet so far, 4 for 10 in the exacta with a couple wins. Martin Garcia rides Encore, coming off a 2-win day today, going into the Thursday card. A lot to like about that particular runner, but I think you got to go through these 2 horses in this particular spot. Iron Clover, my 3rd choice, but Iron Clover, to me, I don't think is going to beat these 2 top runners in this particular spot. Does come out of a really fast race at Fairgrounds last time against Mr. Wireless, who's a stakes kind of horse. But Iron Clover, for me, is not just a pure sprinter. This is a horse, I think, probably more of a miler type by looking at Lucky. But the Forest Wildcat on the bottom might make Iron Clover a better sprinter over time. I'm going to take a shot against that one. It's Brad Cox and Florent Drew, but I just like the 7 and 6 a lot more. I would single in here, being bold with the 7, but if you wanted to go too deep and use Encore, I would certainly understand that. To me, they're 3-1 and 9-5. Depends how much money gets bet on the Cox horse in here, the 3. Maybe you could get an exacta box with the 7-6 in this particular spot. But I want win money on the 7. I want to try to maybe hook up some daily doubles. Because like we told you, when you talk about daily double bets, again, a point that we want to make is, with the daily doubles versus an exacta, in this 7th race, we've got a 7-horse field, and we like Bourbon Heist, who's, 3-1 in the morning line. An exacta in a 7-horse field is probably not going to pay that much. There's only 42 possible combinations the race can come in. 7 horses can win times 6 who can run second. So 42 different combinations in the field. If you look at a daily double in this spot with Bourbon Heist, if you like that runner, instead of playing the exacta in race number 7, you want to look to the daily double, because the 8th race on the card has 12 entries. So how many times or how many combinations are there in a daily double? Well, if you take 7 horses in the first leg, 12 in the second leg, that's 7 times 12. That's 84. So we're going from 42 combinations in the exacta to 84 combinations in the daily double. The daily double has a much better chance of paying better and more than it should versus the exacta, because remember, the losing tickets pay the winning tickets. That's the way parimutuel works. So look at your card, assess where your plays might be. This is what the look ahead's all about. I'm staying away probably from an exacta in race number 7, and I'm looking towards the daily double races 7 to race 8. And with the daily doubles this meet at Keeneland, of course, 15% takeout, that reduced takeout. You're even getting the better part of an exacta versus the daily double. You're saving 7-8 points right there by playing the daily double than playing the exacta. And you're getting the better math working for you in terms of the losers paying the winners. So the right play in this race, in race number 7, is Bourbon Heist to win, and then work a daily double to race number 8. Again, as part of my key plays on the card. 8th race comes up next. It's the final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Turf Pick 3 again on races 2, 4, and 8. Strange numbers for a Turf Pick 3, but that's the way it shakes out on this particular card. In race number 8, this is a tough one. I think there are 5 potential horses in here that I can make a win case for. I ended up with the 9 style points on top. This is Christophe Clement's second time that he could be in the winner's circle on this card. Of course, Clement's got one earlier in the program, going the mile and a half in the mile and a half turf race. So he's got a shot in that one. But style points in here, well bred by Oscar Performance out of Mystical Star, drops out of a couple tough races. Now, she's a 3-year-old filly, and you say, well, you got 3-year-olds against older. No, this is 3-year-olds against 3-year-olds, straight 3-year-old fillies. So she really does come out of top races, coming out of the Swedish Chance Stakes and the Florida Oaks. She just missed in those 2 on the class drop. I think she actually goes shorter than 2-1 in this particular spot, but there are some other good options in here, but I think she's going to get bet heavily with that stakes form showing. The 1 Sassy Princess, the value play here at 12-1 in the morning line. Terrible post last time, good post this time. This is that concentration. How many times have you seen it? A horse who overcame a bad post draw last time, like this horse did, winning from the 10 hole at Gulfstream, now gets a good post draw. That's worth several lengths, just the flip in the post. And this horse was able to break the maiden last time. She's by Cairo Prince. Cairo Prince does exceptionally well with his offspring on the turf here at Keeneland. We still like the Gulfstream horses coming up here for the allowance races on the turf at Keeneland in the springtime. So the 1 Sassy Princess, you can make a great case for that one. The 4 Hello Hollywood's got great form, also coming out of Gulfstream, also coming out of the stakes ranks like Style Points does. So again, you're starting to see there are options in this particular race. Royal Wind Tour is another one from Gulfstream, coming off a win for Graham Motion. There are a lot of good options. This is a race you want to spread a little bit. Even though I think the favorite Style Points looks very good, I think Style Points is going to get overbet versus the competition in this race. No knock to Style Points whatsoever. It's just this race is much deeper than taking 2-1 or 9-5, a short price, because there are good options that you can find in this spot. Tarnina, the 11th one I've got in there as well. Brad Cox trains this one. No chance last time behind a slow pace at Fairgrounds, and still won handily. I mean, this is a very impressive race by the 11 last time, and I didn't have room to put that one in my top 3. 9, 1, 4, 5, 11. I think there are 5 different options you can take in this 8th race. And then you still got to beat Chad Brown and Tyler Gaffalione with the 8th Sacred Image. So you know it's a tough race when you're 5 deep and you don't have Brown and Gaffalione. I just think there are better options than that one coming off the 2 races at Tampa Bay Downs. Great race, great betting race. If you're playing the daily doubles from Bourbon Heist in race number 7, get some coverage here in race number 8. Try to connect a nice daily double. Bourbon Heist in the 7 and the 7th. to several horses that have a chance in here, at least 3 or 4 of them in your daily double considerations for race number 8. To the 9th and final we go. The Toyota Super High 5 is this race, 7,021. If you don't play the Super High 5, it's like a trifecta plus 2, a superfecta plus 1. You got to hit the top 5 finishers in order in the race. So good luck if you're playing the Super High 5 with the carryover of $7,000 going into the nightcap. Here's the way the handicappers have it lined up. I'm going with the first-time starter down on the inside, Day Dawning. Scott's also on that runner. Second place pick in here for Tom and also Kim. So a lot of love to the first-timer in here, Day Dawning. A couple bullet workouts for high percentage trainer Jonathan Thomas. He's not having the year in 2024 that he's had in recent years coming into this season, but we know that his barn can get hot and put up big numbers. John Velasquez rides here. Good sign. 6 furlongs is a tough spot to debut from the rail, but if this horse can break on top or break right with the field, I think Day Dawning is a runner based on the workouts, and Classic Empire the Sire can get a win early type. So I'm looking for the one Day Dawning to come out running. This was a 2-year-old in training purchase for $450,000, so you know there's some precocity involved there. The 11 Into Amore is the second choice for me, another first-time starter by Into Mischief. Todd Pletcher sends this one out off a series of workouts at Palm Beach Downs in Florida. They wait till late in the meet here and try to catch a spot. The 11 Into Amore has some interest in this spot. The 10 Plum Tricky, maybe the best of the horses who have run. 4 starts at Fairgrounds, including a couple second-place finishes by Spikestown. Dallas Stewart hasn't had, any win-end success at the meet, but he's had plenty of horses hit the board. I think Plum Tricky will be part of the discussion in this race. Not a super strong opinion, but I can't really get too deep in here and be digging and digging and digging. Maybe the 7 Dial Home one to consider. We've been chasing Ian Wilkes throughout the card. If we get to the last race and the 7 Dial Home is sitting on the tote at a big number, maybe you take a shot at that one under Joe Talamo, but it's been a rough year in 2024 for Talamo with just 4 victories on the campaign to this point. A tough turf weight and into Keeneland meet for Talamo. So I didn't take that one in the mix, but I do respect the shot of the Ian Wilkes horses throughout the card. If the 7 Dial Home's a big number, don't be afraid to throw that one in somewhere in your consideration. But I'll go Day Dawning and Into Amore. Try to get by with one of the 2 first-time starters. The 2 sharp-working, well-bred, well-connected first-time starters, John Velasquez, Irad Ortiz. You got one on the inside, one on the outside. I'm going to try to get by the last race on the 1 or the 11 in here, but this is not a big conviction. I love the first-time starter for Eddie Keneally as one of my key plays of the day in race number 2. In the last race, these first-time starters do not give me that same kind of feel. I don't have the same momentum and angles with those horses and confidence in them. So all first-time starters, even at the ones you pick on top, don't come alike. I love the one in race number 2. I'm kind of defaulting in the last race to thinking one of these 2 well-bred firsters from the big connections will probably win the race. So it'll probably be the 1 or the 11 in the race 9 nightcap. Hopefully that helped you out on this 9-race card. Again, first post coming up at 1 o'clock. Carryover for the pick 6. Put that up for you one more time before we say goodnight. $286,379 in the pick 6. It'll be on races 4 through 9. Keys for me in the pick 6, race number 4, Berlane, and also Bourbon Heist in race number 7. 7 in the 7, 8 in the 4th. Those are going to be my 2 keys to the pick 6 on Thursday. Now, tomorrow night, we'll be back with you at 8:30 Eastern to take a look at the grand finale of the Keeneland Spring Meet, Friday's closing day card, and that will feature the Bewitched Stakes, where I shortchanged her earlier in the week. Warlike Goddess is back. Not for a 3-peat in the Bewitched. She's already done that. That's blasé. She's going for 4 in a row, folks. We'll see what she does. The 7-year-old makes her seasonal return again in the Bewitched Stakes for Bill Mott. That'll be the feature race on Friday. We'll talk more about that on Thursday night at 8:30. Been a great meet. If we don't talk to you tomorrow night, we hope that you do join us. But we appreciate everybody who has stopped along for any of the podcasts throughout the course of the season. And thank Keeneland for having us back again. Let's finish strong. Big day on Thursday. Good day to hit the pick 6, don't you think? Let's do it. Have a great night, everybody.